When the team at Aegis actually reached out to me to speak at this event, I was kind of surprised because I don't consider myself a machine learning or an AI expert by any means. And I'm not even a computer engineer, but the objective here is to see that we've learned a lot in the previous talks of how machine learning and AI actually works. But I think my objective here is to talk about mBank and what we are building, and just give you guys an idea of how an actual fintech company looks like from under the hood. Because what we're doing is that we're building for Bharat. In fact, yesterday I presented the same thing to Bhupesh sir for the Grand Bill Award as well. So for you, sir, it might be a bit repetitive, but for the others, I'm sure there will be some value addition here. And it will help you understand how exactly fintech is working. Because for us, we are very familiar with Google Pay, Phone Pay, and life is pretty much easy for us in terms of accessing financial services. But what we're doing at mBank is we're enabling these services for the bottom pyramid, the underbanked and underserved section of society. And in the next few slides, I'll just talk a bit about that. So the problem that we're trying to solve is that of financial inclusion, and we see three major trends in the past decade, which is sort of helping us get there. These three trends are the Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, which has enabled a major section of the underbanked population of India to actually come under the ambit of financial services, and it has opened more than 300 million bank accounts. But as you see in the slide, the impact is there, but also the challenges that come along with it. We do see bank accounts being opened, but how many of them are actually being used? That remains to be seen. Aadhaar, we all know it's been a global case study and a proud moment for India, where you have more than 1 billion people enrolled in a biometric sort of a register where everyone is now under Aadhaar, everyone has an Aadhaar card, and a lot of government innovations are built on top of it, such as Aadhaar-enabled payments and Aadhaar Pay. But how much of it is actually being leveraged, that is yet to be seen. And mobile payments, I think this is something that we are all familiar with, the success story of the UPI. But when you see the bottom pyramid, they are not very familiar with Google Pay, Phone Pay. They don't have the same kind of smartphone penetration. So how do you really make these services or payments accessible to the bottom pyramid is something which still remains a challenge. So what we're doing as a solution to this problem is what we term a digital financial marketplace that we're building for Bharat. So as you can see in these screenshots here, we position ourselves as the first digital financial marketplace. What I mean by that is that we have a retailer assistant model wherein people like you and me find it easy to just download an application and make payments or access financial services, apply for a loan, etc. But you can't expect the same from a villager or someone living in a tier 3 or 4 town for whom the nearest bank is like 5 to 10 kilometers away, or for whom a feature phone at most is even a very big task, right? Let alone a smartphone. So how do you extend financial services to these or this population? So for that, we have set up this entire model of the retailer or your nearest kirana store being the pillar of trust. So instead of you traveling 5 to 10 kilometers to the bank, we bring the bank to the nearest retail store for that particular customer. So in terms of how or what the stakeholders are in the entire process, I think you see the end consumer, the retailers, there may or may not be a distributor in between, and then there's mBank. So instead of the end consumer directly downloading an application and then accessing these services, we have the retailer in between who helps us extend these services. So for example, if I want to make a money transfer to someone back in my hometown, instead of doing it myself, because I'm not literate enough to download an application and use Google Pay or Phone Pay, I will walk up to the nearest kirana store who's an mBank enrolled store, give him like 5,000 rupees in cash, and that particular retailer via our fintech application can transfer it to the beneficiary. So in this way, we have set up this retailer assisted model, not just for payments, but I'll talk about it in the coming slides as well, how we use this retailer assisted model to extend a lot of financial services. So this is just a list of the multiple products and services that are currently available on our platform. Because we operate as a marketplace, I mean, marketplace again is a term which is sort of overused, but we all know marketplace from Amazon and Flipkart, which is a goods and services marketplace. But what we're building here at mBank is a marketplace for financial services where we ourselves don't facilitate these services, but we have multiple service providers on our platform who extend services like loans, mutual funds, insurance, payments, micro ATM services, Aadhaar-enabled payments, etc. So if a lot of these terms don't make sense to you, don't worry. I'll talk a bit about what a micro ATM is or what Aadhaar-enabled payments are. So this is what AEPS is. This little red device that you see over here. This is actually being crucial in driving transactions. Almost in the month of May 2022, almost 30,000 crores plus worth of transactions were driven by this little machine over here, which can help someone just by virtue of their fingerprint, which is seeded against their Aadhaar, and that Aadhaar is also linked to their bank account. They can do services like check their balance in their account, even withdraw potential, and we at mBank are very bullish on this to drive financial inclusion especially. This is what is a micro ATM. This is yet another innovation which I'm sure like pretty much everyone here has withdrawn cash from an ATM and even been frustrated at having to stand at long lines, especially during demonetization. I'm sure you guys must remember. But this problem still remains. We might not use ATMs at the same frequency now because of the rise of digital payments, but this problem still remains. Especially in villages where people have to travel long distances to get to the nearest ATM because cash is still predominantly used in the tier 3, 4 cities and even in villages, right? So this micro ATM, what it does is that we have equipped all our merchants with this device, wherein instead of having to travel to a physical ATM, which might be very far away, a customer can simply walk up to a merchant enrolled with mBank and swipe their debit card, and instead of getting the cash from an ATM, take the cash from the till of the merchant who usually holds a lot of cash for the intake that he has for the goods and services that they sell, right? So this is how we equip a lot of these merchants, pretty much all of our merchants with this little device, which is substituted, like you don't have to, like banks don't have to invest in a physical ATM, and it drives down the costs a lot as well. And also retailers earn on these transactions, and it provides them an opportunity to earn additional income apart from what they're usually selling. Direct money transfer, I think this is pretty obvious. I don't think a lot of people here would be knowing about it because again, we use our mobile apps to make payments, but this is something which is very popular, especially in the industrial belts. Say if you're familiar with Bombay region, especially in the areas of Bhiwandi, etc., where a lot of the migrant laborers live, right? And they come from places all over India, and typically they earn wages on a daily basis, which they have to send back to their hometown. So what do they do? So as I explained earlier, they don't have the time, or even there's sometimes a social stigma because of who they are, that they're not very comfortable walking into a bank to make a payment. So what they do is just go to a nearest retail store and give them cash, and via our application they can make direct money transfers to the beneficiary back to their hometowns. Digital gold, I think a lot of us would probably be knowing this because it's been pushed a lot by players like Google Pay, PhonePe, etc. But this is something that we are also pushing via our retail channel, where you can invest in gold without having to physically hold or buy it for amounts as little as 5 rupees also. So this is something that we are also very aggressively pushing on because what we see in the bottom pyramid is that there is this general lack of mentality of savings or investing, right? And digital gold offers, because everyone understands gold and how it's a safe haven, especially with rising inflation. Digital gold makes it really easy for people to invest in without the downside risk of all the storage costs and the risks that come along with it. So because this is a data science and ML talk, I would have to speak about how we're exactly using it. As Ayush mentioned, I mean, it's kind of become like a buzzword, right? People talk about AI and ML, and I'm sure people roll their eyes also in terms of how heavily used or abused the word is. But I'll just try to talk about how practically we at mBank use machine learning. The first one is balance prediction for service providers. So as I spoke about, we are a marketplace. So we have multiple service providers which will be maintain balances. And what will happen if some of these balances suddenly run low or even go to zero is that we won't be able to process transactions at all. So our system has to be sure that there is a sufficient balance in the wallet to make sure that transactions are running smoothly. So we use time series forecasting to predict from past data that what is the ideal balance which should be maintained and whether or and give out alerts at the right time to the operations team. Like, okay, you'll have to reload the wallet now because it's running lower and this is the predicted use over a period of time, and all of that is based on previous transaction history. The second is more obvious, and I think a lot of speakers before me also spoke about, which is the KYC and how we capture the Aadhaar and PAN card, which is mandatory for all merchants to do. So we run a basic OCR on the Aadhaar and PAN card and capture the text, and also we capture selfie of the merchant and match it with the photo of the Aadhaar and PAN card. So I'm sure like a lot of PAN cards are old and we were very young back then. So like these are just real life examples which come in where how you look today is probably not how you look when you got your Aadhaar card picture clicked or the PAN card picture clicked, right? And the third one is the anomaly detection for system monitoring. So basically, because there are so many services that we have like started on our platform and there are multiple APIs that we use, we have to make sure that all of these are running, like there's no downtime, and even if there is, we get sufficient alerts so that the team is ready for the same. So that's what we use for anomaly detection. Just talking a bit about how we've grown. So we started operations in early 2021 and we've grown to over 150,000 plus retail stores across the country. We're predominantly present in the western, northern, and eastern parts of India, but we're slowly growing in the south as well. We processed transactions worth almost 3,500 crores in the past month across multiple services with a transaction count of more than 4 million. So yeah, I think we've grown pretty well, and we've seen that we found product market fit and this model really works. This is just a list of some of the alliances and some of the service providers that we have onboarded onto mBank. A lot of these being banks you would already know of, and a lot of these being fintech companies which are providing easy way or easy services, like which is the right fit for us to serve the bottom pyramid. So this is what we've been doing, and yeah, I think that's it from my end. Thank you.